What's that? You guys do your picture in the chamber? That's it. Is that like the whole Senate? Everybody's
Was Rob Banky there again?
Nah. I heard about that.
That's the we're fighting out.
I was on the tricks you. How do you get the audio?
I don't know. I mean, just a mic stand there. So.
No, it's at 46. Yeah. That's right. He gets immunity? Yeah. Yeah, he's like, oh, all right. Yeah. I don't think it's quite that at that level, but yeah, it's really.
Keep flattening out for me. No, thanks.
So here from you, when you obviously, whoever Kershaw probably wrote 72 pages. Right? You know, give Tillis whatever.
You remember that?
That's the one. It's we'll never get that out.
Bonnie was asking about where he was.
Yeah. I don't know if I remember that story.
Is it all right if I kind of like bunch one with you here, just sort of,
Yeah, sure. No
I'm
problem.
sort of behind a little
Yeah.
close enough to get some audio.
No problem.
How are you guys?
Vineyard Vines fan is great. Deny all that enthusiasm.
What do you think about their draft pick?
I mean, the hard thing is high schoolers rarely pan out. I mean, if you look at the history of number ones, high schoolers taken number one, amateurs taken number one, they rarely pan out, but they seem high on this guy. He was, but I don't believe was tried number one, like overall.
So I will touch on
Yeah. Well, I mean, so Harper's an exception, but you know, I mean, it's. I don't know. They've got all the pieces there. Disappointed this year hasn't been better than it's been, but you know, it was they needed a change. Yeah.
Well, he's the one that can't start.
Right. No, totally. You know, they've got Woods, I think, on his rookie contract until 2030, I think. I mean, like, they've got a window if they can get these other. That's true. Right.
Is this kind of like what you were in?
Was he Jewish?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But it was just kind of that.
Yeah.
Like the hangers would just so.
Right. No, I hear you.
No. They were joking, but it was just like.
Ted Leonsis is still interested, but nobody wants to put them on the
It
block.
sounds like there's a lot of.
His whole staff.
Yeah.
Which I felt pro-level, which I thought was.
I think it was, you know, Ted's dream to bring the team to Washington, and this generation just doesn't have the same enthusiasm. Right.
So I'll agree, and you can.
Yeah.
Hey folks, when they come out, we're going to keep this back area for egress. I mean, that's probably obvious, but just for awareness, just you want to surround it the way you, way you want it, just make sure this area is clear. Thank you.
already at one step. Now they are in the Senate.
Oh, I thought you were going to. They own it.
No,
So they're talking to us before they meet?
Yes, and just a quick, whatever, chat, and then we'll go in and talk a little bit about the term.
And then they're just come back out?
Yes,
That's what they
at
talk
some
about?
point, I don't know. I defer to Adam and all the press views and play. So the last time Rudy was here, there was actually a fine American in the hallway expressing his First Amendment rights, singing the national anthem in the top of his lungs for about 20 minutes while we were sitting in that room. So he ended up doing a.
Did he have the pipes for it?
He was an older gentleman.
Okay, so no.
So,
So it wasn't pleasant to listen to?
no, but he wasn't bad. I mean, Capitol Police was kind of.
It wasn't Whitney Houston at the Super Bowl.
What's that?
It wasn't Whitney Houston at the Super Bowl
No, it
on
wasn't.
that quality.
Just us again. Sorry.
Sorry, Mike.
So the group's leaving Thune's office, heading this way.
Thank you.
Walking through and suddenly, like time out. Time out. Time now.
time now.
Yeah, like you said,
They're leaving now.
So Rutte's not in there meeting with Shaheen and tell us
No.
he's at the show.
We're actually on time. If you can.
Assuming the train doesn't break down.
Right.
Unless they walk.
Same guy.
You're good.
We're gonna have to try to keep some curiosity behind.
It should be very, very.
You want to scooch it in? Does that help you?
I mean, whatever. Does that work for you? Yeah, if you don't mind.
Don't go too crazy, but yeah, you can bring the mic coming back a little bit.
I don't know it's delicate. I want to. Just tell me when to stop.
About delicate.
Just tell me when to stop.
That's good.
That's good?
Okay.
Okay.
Too close?
You guys, no,
No,
for
I
whatever.
know.
No, this is for you.
Okay,
No,
this-
you're good. We'll make it work.
Thank you.
They're walking.
Yes, indeed.
They're walking across the street.
They're walking from the Capitol. They're meeting with Thune.
Right. Isn't Thune in Dirksen? No?
But Thune's in the Capitol.
Oh, duh. Jesus. I'm living in the past. I'm sorry.
Very sweaty photographer.
Oh, God. That's not too pleasant.
They're walking from the Capitol, so it might be there.
They're walking outside, which makes it
Oh, I know they're walking outside. They do a detail let them walk outside. They start to get in their vehicles.
So, previous case, security.
Oh,
So,
we have a lot of senators here that sometimes lose their,
oh,
Which one's exactly?
And I see Durbin sometimes walking past me with a grin, and I'm like, why is he grinning? Then I realize there's no VW behind him. So he dodged his folks.
there's a difference between, just say there's some Americans here who have the detail that versus the principal or someone that actually trying to kill them.
Oh.
That's pretty funny.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, big C-130 right after takeoff, the load shifted.
What was that?
Yeah.
I'm going to try to, I'll be on this side, you want to be on this side, but I'm going to try to keep this back area for egress. So I'm assuming push the podium back a little bit so we can have more space right here.
Really?
I don't know how many folks are going to actually stand on wheel. Yeah. Before they're going in first. Then they're going in. I'm not sure if they're coming back out this evening.
No, he loves the last one. He went on a cruise there.
I have zero details, so I learned all this from OSEP and talking to folks here.
It does sound perfect. Yeah, that's very
Yeah. No, I've learned. I didn't realize.
All right, push
It is beautiful. I just I did that already.
Yeah, it might not work for them. I didn't want to put stanchions up because it's no good for
welfare change. That should have turned in. It should have turned into like a recovery,
All right, guys. Heads up.
That's not what I was told.
Oh, those guys got nice shots.
Can they walk over?
Yeah.
Outside. You guys are flattening out right here. I need this space for
Sure.
egress. So pass this line. It's stuck in right there. Perfect.
If they're going to be, well, whatever.
Can we move it?
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay.
Well, hey, everybody. We apologize for being late. We'll be very quick. We're about to have a meeting with the Secretary General. Wanted to answer some of your questions beforehand. I want to take a moment to personally thank Senator Shaheen. It was in 2018 that she approached me. We were both members of Senate Armed Services, saying I really believe that the Senate NATO Observer Group needs to be reauthorized, and there may be opportunities for accession and better connection to NATO. Seemed like a great idea. It proved to be a great idea. Since then, we've had 4 nations come into the NATO family, and I would expect others as we go forward. Also, so I want to pass it over to Senator Shaheen, but also want to welcome the Secretary General. I think he's already making extraordinary progress, and look forward to the meeting today and us continuing to work together, particularly as we focus on ensuring that Vladimir Putin fails in Ukraine. Senator Shaheen?
Well, thank you. We certainly are in agreement on that, and Senator Tillis has been a great partner as we've worked on the Senate NATO Observer Group, and it's nice to have a bipartisan organization that continues to reiterate our support for NATO. Under Secretary General Rutте, it is, I think, fair to say it is stronger and more able to address the threats than we've seen in the past, and I think, sadly, we have Vladimir Putin to thank in large part for that, because he has pointed out just how important NATO is, what a threat Russia has been to not just Ukraine but to all of Europe and to the national security of the United States. So we are very proud to support this organization. We're glad to have Secretary General Rutте here, and I was very pleased to hear the Secretary General and President Trump yesterday make the announcement about sending weapons provided by NATO from the United States to Ukraine to continue this unprovoked war against Russia.
I want to thank both senators for your leadership and for organizing the bipartisan, let's say, discussion in the Senate when it comes to NATO. This is really important. What happened yesterday was important. First of all, that the US will now supply massively Ukraine with weapons out of the US, not just air defense, also missiles, also ammunition paid for by the Europeans. And secondly, that President Trump said, basically, if Russia is not serious about peace talks, within 50 days, he will slam secondary sanctions on countries like India, China and Brazil. So my encouragement to these 3 countries particularly is, if you live now in Beijing or in Delhi, or you are the president of Brazil, you might want to take a look into this, because this might hit you very hard. So please make the phone call to Vladimir Putin and tell him that he has to get serious about peace talks, because otherwise this will slam back on Brazil, on India and on China in a massive way. So I think it was a very smartly, wisely designed announcement yesterday by President Trump, but also the weapons I think is very important, and we will find the money in Europe to make sure that Ukraine has what it needs to be in the best possible position during these peace talks as soon as they start.
Question.
Secretary General, the President has said several times, including with yourself yesterday in the Oval Office, that the war in Ukraine is a Biden war, that it's a Democrat war. How do you respond to that kind of reference towards the war as something that's owned by one of the 2 parties rather than the current administration, which is continuing to
I don't think it's fair to ask the Secretary General about a fundamentally political question, so let me see if I can answer that. This is a war that started when Vladimir Putin lied by saying he was doing a military exercise around the borders, then lied again by saying that it was a special military operation. He is a liar and a murderer, and this is not a partisan war. This is a war against a totalitarian who has designs on other nations if he succeeds in Ukraine, not to mention, or should we mention, Moldova, the Balkans, and disrupting the peace that is actually that's growing in that area. This is not a political war. This is not a partisan war. This is a murderous decision by Vladimir Putin, and he needs to fail.
Could I maybe, in addition, say that President Trump providing the javelins in 2019 have been crucial when the war started. The full-scale attack started in February 2022. And him breaking the deadlock with Putin, starting the phone calls, this was crucial because only the American president could do this. So I really want to commend his leadership for doing that. And clearly after the 6th phone call, he came to the conclusion the decisions yesterday were necessary to take the next step.
And I appreciate the president's action too. Next question.
Mr. Secretary General, can you put some meat on the bones as far as the announcement yesterday? I think we know the Patriots are involved. What other missiles and weapon systems are involved? How would it function? What countries are involved?
Well, first of all, this is an ongoing process. So this is not just one package. So what NATO is good at is, together with the Ukrainians, through our command in Wiesbaden, to design packages which are maximum useful for Ukraine when it comes to air defense, when it comes to ammunition, when it comes to missiles. So this is what we will now be working on with the US. Of course, in a way that the US still has enough stockpiles for you to be able to defend yourselves, but also to massively make sure that Ukraine has what it needs. And this is also sending a strong signal to Moscow and to Vladimir Putin that he has got to take these peace talks seriously and get out this historian talking about history since 1250 and send a serious team to Istanbul.
Next question. Right here.
When will the first Patriot batteries arrive in Ukraine, and where are they coming from?
Yesterday we have seen Boris Pistorius here, the German defense minister, discussing this with Pete Hegseth. So they are working through all these details. Many Patriot systems have been delivered into Ukraine. So what we are now looking at is to make sure that Patriot systems directly from the US go to Ukraine. That's one way to do it, paid for by the Europeans, or that you get a front loading from European countries into Ukraine and then being backfilled by the US. So this is all worked through now. But again, the structures are established. The infrastructure, logistics is there, because this is not new. What is new is that yesterday President Trump announced that he wants the US stockpiles to open up in a way, of course, still Europeans paying and the US going forward being able to defend itself.
Andrew.
Mr. Secretary General, what is your message to senators today about the bipartisan Russia sanctions bill? Is it still necessary after the president's announcement yesterday?
Well, of course, the sanctions bill is politics here. I won't interfere. However, what the president did yesterday, I think, is in line with that sanctions bill, saying, listen, if you are the president of China, or the prime minister of India, or the president of Brazil, and you are still trading with the Russians and getting the oil and the gas in, and you sometimes even resell it for a higher price, know that if this guy in Moscow doesn't get serious about peace talks, I will slam secondary sanctions on you of 100%. So I'm sure they don't know yet what hit them. This will take some time to sink in, and I think you guys making this clear in the media, the senators maybe also discussing this with their counterparts in Brazil, India, China, will be very helpful to put maximum pressure on Russia in addition to the weapons delivery into Ukraine.
But look,
Senator Shaheen, and then we'll have one more.
We need to go forward with this Graham-Blumenthal sanctions bill. It's got 85 bipartisan co-sponsors. It sends a very strong message. We need to be prepared. If, in fact, we're going to give Russia 50 days, and I don't support that, because I think every day that Russia is able to continue this war means dead Ukrainians, it means more havoc in the country, and it means that the rest of the world is looking to see what the outcome is going to be.
Yeah, we'll take one more question, but first I should have started by thanking the president for taking the step that he did. The resupply is critically important. That should give Putin some pause, but the 50-day delay worries me, and that Putin would try to use the 50 days to win the war, or to be better positioned to negotiate a peace agreement after having murdered and potentially collected more ground as a basis for negotiation. So we should look at the current state of Ukraine today and say, no matter what you do over the next 50 days, any of your gains are off the table, and we should pay special attention, even the attack overnight, we should pay special attention to the murderous behavior of this dictator as we go into any peace discussions if they occur 50 days from now. Last question. Ma'am.
Mr. Secretary, are long-range offensive missiles part of this under discussion, and how much do you think these...
Well, again, it is both defensive and offensive, so it is all kinds of weapons. But we have not discussed in detail yesterday with the President. This is really being worked through now by the Pentagon, by the Supreme Allied Commander in Europe, together with the Ukrainians, through our command in Wiesbaden. So that is happening. And maybe to this point of the 50 days, I understand what the senators are saying. You could also argue that the clock has started ticking yesterday. Because yes, it takes 50 days, but at the same time the clock started ticking yesterday. And that means that if Putin doesn't get serious, the way President Trump designed this 50 days, the clock starting ticking yesterday means that they will start putting pressure on the Russians. And I think that is extremely meaningful. So it won't take 50 days. This whole process will start basically yesterday and hopefully lead to a positive result soonest.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.